Hello and welcome to Bingemas, a 12-part holiday special here on the Ringer Podcast Network. I'm your host, Jodi Walker. And ever since 2017, when I happened upon a little Hallmark film called The Christmas Train, wherein Danny Glover basically kidnapped Dermot Mulroney and Kimberly Williams Paisley in order to enter them into a Truman Show-like scenario aboard, you guessed it, a Christmas train. I have been obsessed with breaking down the insane plots of original holiday movies and getting them to the people. These are plots that are so formulaic, yet mysteriously compelling, that each and every one of the 100-plus original holiday movies this year can and will complete our patented Bingemas rubric, answering questions like, are there any fake towns or perhaps a whole fake country? Is there a mysterious old man? And does that man turn out to be Santa? Who's royal? How many Vanessa Hudgenses are in this? And of course, everyone's favorite, who's dead? Because someone is always dead at Christmas time in a Hallmark movie.
This episode of Ringer Dish is presented by State Farm. Just like settling on the perfect couch setup to catch up with your girls, State Farm has options to choose from to help you find coverage that best fits your needs. Talk to a State Farm agent today to learn how you can choose to bundle and save with the personal price plan. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. Prices are based on rating plans that vary by state. Coverage options are selected by the customer. Availability, amount of discounts and savings, and eligibility vary by state.
For the next 6 weeks, I'll be meeting cute on Mondays and Thursdays with all of your Ringer favorites to binge the best original holiday offerings from Hallmark, Lifetime, and Netflix. And today that means Merry Christmas, Ted Cooper! Exclamation point.
Exclamation mark.
A Hallmark original movie that dares to take on the perils of toxic positivity and also going to escape rooms. And to dive deep on our very first original holiday movie of Bingemas 2025, I could have only turned to the Ringer's Queen of Culture, bestie of the pod, and returning Bingemas guest, Joanna Robinson. Merry Bingemas, how are you?
Oh my gosh, Merry Bingemas. It's a whole new world coming back for a second year because I feel like I know last year I learned so much and this year I came armed with all the knowledge that I gleaned from last year's Bingemas.
You're basically coming back an expert. And I thought about this because last year I asked you kind of what your relationship with original holiday movies was at the time, and it was pretty sparse.
It was not like hardly anything. And then we watched two. You had me on for like a twofer episode last year.
Well, just to be clear, we've doubled Bingemas this year. This year it's twice a week, one movie an episode, a 12-part series. So we're in it for the long haul, baby.
I love this for us. It's a true advent. And I think that like coming in knowing that we're recycling actors, we are recycling costume pieces and set pieces perhaps, and just like all of the familiarity that I brought really helped me go, I think, dig deeper on a movie that has an exclamation mark in the title.
That's correct.
Which is what it deserves, I think.
And you are a journalist, if nothing else.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I did choose this specific movie for a reason I will reveal to you in a moment. But as you are a returning guest, I first just want to ask you a question to kind of get it out of the way. Did I make a huge mistake by choosing Merry Christmas, Ted Cooper as the first Bingemas movie? Because it's basically perfect and there's not that much to say. I loved it.
I don't think a mistake, but I was talking to other bestie of the pod, Rob Mahoney. We are fellow Bingemas alums.
Who I can't believe is returning this year after what I did to him last year, vis-a-vis Alpaca Farms.
I texted him, I was like, does your movie once again involve alpacas? And he was like, no, we were talking. And he was like, this is the premise of mine. He's like, what's the premise of yours? I was like, I think it dares to be premiseless, kind of. I like the movie. I have a lot of positive things to say about the movie, but it's also like, we want some conflict, right? And the conflict here, which we will talk about, feels like it belongs nowhere near Hallmark. It's like a profoundly character-based conflict,
yes,
which is very odd for something like this. So it's almost like at times this movie is too good, and then at times you're like, is anything happening at all at the same time? Do you know what I mean?
Yes, it's a lot of calm, a little rom, and then quite a bit of introspection at the end.
Yeah, like just unexpected drama out of nowhere.
And sort of like truly out of nowhere, truly out of some sort of like self-destructive tendencies after one date. Ultimately, they went on one date in this movie.
One crappy date. And then one of our co-leads, I won't say which one, we'll get there, feels deeply entitled to completely ask for an entire change of character from their would-be partner.
I'll say this wasn't the most feminist I've ever felt while watching one of these movies.
Well, this was Rob Mahoney's pertinent questions, because basically this boils down to her asking, our female lead asks our male lead to basically smile less, right? That's the prompt. It'd be a whole lot cuter if you smiled less. And Rob was like, I can't tell if that's fighting the patriarchy or not. I'm not sure what that is.
Joanna,
what are your thoughts?
I can't believe that you've said this off the bat, because when I said specifically that I felt more feminist than I have watching this movie, I wrote down, I hate to say smile more about our female lead, but it was so glaring because he is so positive. And so I could see how that could be frustrating to her. But there were some moments where I was like, girl, let yourself enjoy life.
This is something I was talking to your lovely team about before, where I was just sort of like, he is like a walking parade of green flags.
Yeah.
And she's like, no, thank you. Don't want it. That's the question I have for her, this Bingemas.
Because she sees the deeper issue here.
Right.
Which is truly, truly deep for a Hallmark movie. Before I read the very normal Hallmark movie synopsis, I'll just quote the film quickly by saying, advocating for yourself isn't an imposition. Just
Merry
didn't see it coming. And Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
And Merry Christmas to you and yours, Ted Cooper.
Yeah.
Exclamation mark. The Hallmark synopsis, so we know what we're getting into with Merry Christmas, Ted Cooper, is that weatherman, surprise, Ted Cooper loves Christmas, but the past 3 have been terrible. This year, Ted has made up his mind that this Christmas will turn things around for him. But Ted's relentless optimism, did the female lead write this, is about to be put to the test when, after returning to his hometown of Lackawanna, New York for the holidays, he immediately finds himself making a trip to urgent care. And while there, he reconnects with the charming, Joanna's saying questionable, Hope Miller.
She's not without charm.
No, she is not. Except now she's Dr. Hope Miller, with whom he went to high school and quietly crushed on from afar. Ted is optimistic that his budding romance is the beginning of a Christmas comeback, but his looming holiday bad luck still has a few curveballs in store for him. Does that all sound right? Honestly, I condensed it. Hallmark got pretty lengthy with this one.
No mention of the real star of the show, which is Ruth, A.K. Mittens. To the true...
Please call her by her Christian name, Miss Mittens.
Miss Mittens speed walks away with this entire movie. Let's be really clear. But also, I just want to say, Kimberly Susted, who I believe we spent time with at Santa School last year during Bingemas.
We sure did. So I chose this movie for you, Joanna. This was my gift to you, as you have given me the gift of being my first Bingemas guest, because it's written by Russell Hainline, who wrote The Christmas Class last year that we really liked. And he also wrote Hot Frosty. He also is a friend of a friend, I found out last year during Bingemas. We've been to a wedding together. I've simply got to reach out and see what's going on.
I feel like he needs to be on the pod. Absolutely.
He's right. I'm wondering how freely he can speak about the Enterprise, but he's written some bangers. I feel like this is going to be a good time at the original holiday movies. I did not know that I was also returning you to the same Hallmark heroine. That was a surprise.
Heroine the same, hero new, but not new to me, because Robert Buckley I love him. I'm not the hugest One Tree Hill watcher, but he was on, this is me bringing House of Art to this podcast. He was on iZombie. He was so good on the show iZombie, playing a character called Major Lillywhite. And he was just he's just hilarious and fantastic and very charming. And I didn't know he had this like new career in Christmas movies, but I am learning more about the Christmas movie lore. Apparently he was a co-star of that sort of famous Hallmark movie that features like the first same-sex couple. He wasn't part of that storyline, but that's sort of his origin as like a Christmas movie leading man. And he is, have you seen him in other Hallmark presentations?
So likewise, I am more familiar with him. He meets the former WB/CW star quota for
great.
This movie, being from One Tree Hill and Die Zombie. I don't know that I've specifically seen him in the other Hallmark movies that he's been in. But Joanna, what if I told you that he was actually a co-writer on those movies you just referenced, which both star Jonathan Bennett, and he gets a story credit on this movie because he came up with the concept.
Robert, innovative.
Bob
oh my gosh.
Buckley. I also,
Really
frankly, I'm afraid I'm going to like blush. He was so good.
He's so good. He's almost too good.
He's
like,
almost too good. He really makes, like, there's great writing in the movie as well, and I mean, all with the caveat, we're talking about Hallmark movies. So
we the bar is a certain place.
The bar is where it is. And this is reaching the bar. And then it did actually make me laugh, really specifically, like his work around finding out that his news station has been betting on what terrible thing he's going to have happen to him this year. And he sees the list and he's like, joke's on you guys. I don't even eat fruitcake. And also, it's really mean that you would want me to go to jail. I mean, just like he's giving an like Adam Brody level of charm.
This, that section, which involves his coworker, Ken, all of the Ken-Ted interactions, Ken being the smarmy anchorman, Ted being the like, clever, lovable weatherman, and they're back and forth, how they absolutely hate each other and are just sniping at each other with like smiles plastered on their faces is truly phenomenal stuff.
Joanna, I found them absolutely electric. The snarking back and forth. And they also, like, they had the vibe of an anchorman and a weatherman down so well. The way that Robert Buckley would, like, do this really specific sort of, like, closed mouth, tense smile at the end of, like, bickering back and forth between them. I was also really interested in the actor who played the anchor because he's also really hot and I'm sure can turn the charm. This movie had like several other hot, charming men who are just churning out of the Hallmark enterprise.
I have spent more time, I will say, in the romance novel land since the last time we talked about
okay,
Bingemas.
so you're coming
I
with
feel like I
depth.
understand tropes a bit better. And so all I saw was franchise possibility. There's like a number of spin-off possibilities from this. Like we've got the sister, what's going on with her. We've got the best friend who has a meet cute right at the end with like a cameraman. I mean, like there's just like, there's spin-off possibilities galore inside of the Ted Buckley ! Universe. So is like next season, next year we could do like Merry Christmas, Ken the Anchorman !
Or it's like Happy New Year, Ted Cooper.
Yeah.
And the Anchorman is back. It is incredibly Anchorman-esque what they are up to when he's like, love your hair, almost looks like it's real. It's like, ah!
Yeah.
So he's like, ah! Between the franchise opportunities of the news station, his sister's mysterious job that just keeps her clicky-clacking on that computer all hours of the night. She's so busy.
She has such like a large like folio that she carries with her everywhere.
She's
busy. Lots of clipboards and like things to organize. As far as I understand, her job is cookie plus hospital. Cookie hospital.
My feeling was that like her actual job is fundraising or like sponsorships for the hospital. And at this moment, it is playing out as Cookie.
Yeah.
But Ted is, of course, returning home to Lackawanna for the Gingerbread Invitational that is sort of hosted by his sister. At times, she seems tangentially related to it. And at times, she seems entirely in charge of it.
Oh, correct.
He is entirely in charge of the marketing of it. He is going home. We really don't even know really what point in time this is. This is like the rare movie that doesn't really have a countdown to Christmas. There's nothing. It's a countdown to the Gingerbread Invitational. And he is there to record several promos. as a prominent weatherman
of a different market. He's in Corning, which is 4 hours away. So the people of Corning and their local news there are getting a lot of marketing for a cookie fundraiser for that. We're not doing it on the local station in Lackawanna or dare I say Buffalo, the bustling metropolis nearby. We are pitching to a market of people 4 hours away, hoping that they will travel across the upper state to support the hospital. It's a good cause, you know?
Yeah. And when they get there, they will find the largest cardboard cutouts of gingerbread you've ever seen. The extent to which they did not try to make these things look like cookies I did feel a little condescending.
I have a fun fact for you, which is that I was like so intrigued by good old Bob Buckley in this movie that I was like, what other Christmas offerings can I see to see like how charming is he in all of these things?
Yes.
And so the comments, the reviews of this on IMDb, a famously great place for reviews, singled out The Christmas Contract, which is a Hillary Burton jam from 2018.
I've heard a lot about this one. And if we ever do Bingemas Rewind and hit other years, it's like basically first on the list.
It's set in New Orleans. It's so like a different flavor of Christmas. We're not in like a Vermont adjacent sort of space. But I swear to you, the giant cardboard ginger men are there as well. And I was like, have they just been like, how tattered are these things? How many productions have they been trotted out for at this point? You know,
things that styrofoam has soaked up. Hallmark also sort of famously has like, if you watch enough and look hard enough, they have like certain trees that they use that are like large fake tree. Like you can see a lot of the reusing. And yeah, they're cranking out 50 movies a year. They got to cut corners where they can. Famously, one of the corners that I love that they cut is the extras budget. There are generally no people around, and the people that are around cannot talk. I found this movie to be a little more bustling people-wise than other ones I've seen.
I mean, the pub is like banging. The pub in Lackawanna looks so fun. I want to hang out there all the time.
Absolute same. The romantic English pub that they just find themselves at because good old Miss Mittens is like, hey, why don't you two youngsters go get a burger after her 12-hour shift? I also thought maybe she had been on like somewhat of a night shift. And then they fully go on a date to the most charming, I really actually think like the most charming representation of a pub I've seen in one of these movies.
Like a giant roaring fire. And then when you walk in, everyone knows Ted's name. They're just like, Ted. Here, okay. Here's a nip I have to pick.
Pick it.
Is the implication not? So we should say, or I think you already said let's reiterate. This is his high school crush. So this is like a re-meet cute. It's not we're meeting for the first time. It's like we went to high school together. He had a huge crush on her. She was oblivious to the fact that he had a huge crush on her. The implication being, especially since he has like a Lord of the Rings, quote in the yearbook, that he was a big old nerd.
Oh, yeah,
and she was super cool.
He had a Gimli quote.
And I'm like, this guy is extremely conventionally handsome and has always been, and everyone and really likable and really socially fluent, and everyone in town loves him. And I was like, in what planet was this guy ever ostracized?
Like an unnoticed nerd. He's the best thing you can be, which is a hot nerd. Like that is currency around these parts. And not only is it like unconvincing that he would have like been this sort of, nerd that she wasn't noticing, when they look at the yearbook, they've simply used a picture of Robert Buckley, I assume from high school, and he's so hot. Like he's just so hot. He looks like he would have been on the OC. And we're just trying to they didn't even CGI like glasses on him or something.
Acne, something. No,
he
nothing.
had blonde highlights.
Yeah, he looked like he was a surfer. And she was like, who? I don't remember him at all, barely,
Yeah, I want to hold space for some things that ultimately come up between them. But I did find his like the character's complete earnestness and Robert Buckley's playing of it so endearing, including that as a high school student, he drew a red heart around her face to sort of represent his crush on her.
Aww.
And that he was voted most likely to be a weatherman at a mid-sized news station.
Yeah.
Which is pretty accurate.
This guy is the absolute best. My favorite, I have, we've enumerated a few, but his complete lack of toxic masculinity, as you mentioned, this idea of toxic positivity, which we can talk about later. But the way in which his suitcase gets mixed up with the sorority girls, so he wears a sorority girl's clothes with zero bother for several days in this town. Tight pants, pink sweaters, pink hoodies, all this sort of stuff like that with his coat over it. He's like, who cares? Like, it's fine. He has like no ish with this. He thinks it's fun and funny and whatever. But by the moment I was just like, this is the guy, is when he takes his high school teacher, Miss Mittens, to the Christmas tree lot.
Yes.
And she is like horny as hell for this lumberjack who comes to help them. And first of all, he's got a quick aside of like, easy, Mittens. Like, cool
keep
your
it together,
jets.
Mittens.
But when then they get lost and he's like, where's that handsome lumberjack? Like that, I was just like, the lack of like,
totally
just
agree.
like dickishness in this guy. You're just like, I want to like be best friends with him.
I noticed that as well. Him like completely clocking that that's like the most handsome lumberjack you've ever seen.
Yeah. And he's like, where is that handsome lumberjack?
Gotta get him back here. Also, so I feel two ways about the suitcase switch. One, it's like, it is the visual gag that keeps on giving. Even just like the accidental grabbing of the wrong suitcase is a nice little moment when he opens it up and there's a bra sitting right on top. Then when he wears like the perfect cropped pink Christmas sweater, which, thanks be to the costume department that he arrived in those Levi's, because
they do a lot of work.
They were doing a lot of work with the cropped sweater. It was a great
great
fit.
Look.
He wears that sweater for like half the movie. Then he switches into like a Kappa Kappa Gamma pink hoodie that he wears with his overcoat. Looks great. The longer I thought about it, though, I was like, it's kind of weird to wear someone else's clothes.
It's deeply weird. Like he makes, Ted, we have an issue. You make no effort to get this girl her clothing back. She's stuck with your, I'm sure, very nice sweaters or whatever. But like, and wearing her, like, the fact that there was nothing standing between him and going to get other clothing, which he does do eventually, so that he's not wearing a crop pink sweater to his
he's got weatherman money to burn.
Or whatever.
Like he goes in Pretty Woman's Lackawanna.
Okay, but here's the issue with the Pretty Womaning of Lackawanna. There's a prompt in your beautiful like grid here of like, is there a montage? Why do we get all the ladies are handing him items of clothing and he's like, looks great. And then we don't get a try on montage. Why is there no try on montage?
This is such a good question, Joanna, because the movie's short on montages. There's also a moment where he goes to help Hope decorate her house. And I was like, oh, finally, a montage. It is for under 20 seconds. Like it is the quick, they hang a wreath or two. And with the clothing, such an opportunity to see Robert Buckley in what could have been some great fisherman sweaters, but also some sort of joke outfits. And then ultimately, he still has the cropped sweater on after he's bought the clothing. And when he has all the bags when they go on the pub date. But when they arrive at the pub date, he has changed clothes. Like, did he put that sweater on in his car? And why? What? Frankly, why couldn't we see?
That's kind of cute. I mean, yes. Why were we not treated to this clothing changing montage? I'm sure Mittens would have appreciated it. You know what I mean? Like this is
Mittens
something
is
we
there
deserved,
for a good time, not a long time.
Something Mittens deserves. I really feel like, in the sequel, there's opportunity. That's what I'll say.
That's right. I love you franchising this. Every time Mittens showed up, I wrote Mittens enters stage left because she stayed just like popping into a scene. One of the questions I like to ask on the rubric is there an old man and does that old man turn out to be Santa? I do feel like she had a certain Mrs. Claus vibe, although it is not ultimately canon.
She's Mrs. Claus, Ed in the limo lift,
Santa coded. Was Santa-esque.
And then there's the elf factor in the
Brandon.
escape room. Yeah, Brandon, the elf. So I feel like the whole family's here in represented without a literal Santa. And I was disappointed to not get a literal Santa because you taught me last year how often literal Santa shows up in these stories. We didn't get one this year, but Ed doing a lot of good work inside of this movie.
Yeah, it's interesting that this comes from the writer of Hot Frosty, which is like an incredibly magic forward world building. Sentient things are coming to life. Things are being resurrected in that movie. There's a lot going on. This is like a pretty, and maybe it's because of the Robert Buckley collab, but it's pretty founded in like human things that you and I know. I would say the only magic is just kind of that he's cursed.
The curse, which kind of goes away halfway through the movie.
Because of love.
Well, and we pivot to the reveal that he's like profoundly damaged, and that's why he's so positive, I guess.
When she says, "Tell me about yourself," and he says, "Well, my mom left when I was young." Also pretty rare for a Hallmark movie.
Yeah.
I was like, left like died? That's kind of the standard. Mom left when he was young. Dad had a hard time. Sister had to step in. And so he overcompensated by becoming a people pleaser and making himself small. He says all of this in a sleigh.
In an escape room.
In an escape room, which we will get to.
I would say the most magical element, mostly score-based, is the magical wind that takes the note away from Hope's door, because there's like chiming of sort of like tinkling of bells as the wind takes his note during honestly one of the stupidest misunderstandings I've ever seen in my entire life, because her phone number is in his sister's phone and he could have called her, but instead he's like, I'll drive there and leave a note. Okay, I like that. But then like, if you don't reach her, text her from your sister's phone and just be like, hey.
He does ultimately call her on his sister's phone like later, early the next morning. But I agree. I think a text would be nice. I think when it's coming from a different number, and just to be incredibly clear, he's already struggled with the voicemail. So we know that's not working.
I'm so charming.
Okay.
Very charming.
This was like one of the funnier moments I've seen in one of these movies in a while. His sister is having a Christmas costume party, which I think sounds fun.
It does sound fun. Come as your favorite Christmas. What would you dress as, Jodi? What is your favorite Christmas character?
I mean, I'd probably go Cindy Lou Who. I can get my face into a pretty hooey place.
Yeah. With ease,
and hair, really. Yeah. That would be, but like my mind first went to one of the ghosts, a ghost of Christmas, past, present, or future. And there was like a man in like grayscale and chains there. I assume that's what he was up to. I do want to say about this party that like there were a lot of extras there. So it was in a barn that was revealed to be behind the sisters' like incredibly suburban house. Suburban like McMansion kind of.
Like this is when I have a hard time as a California resident, is like these people whose job is cookie and they have like this sprawling estate, and I'm like, how?
Well, she's been doing Cookie for years, and she invested in Cookie. So
That's
like
true.
It's different. It's not
she
even
got
generational.
In early on Cookie. Yeah,
because
got it.
his house that he walked out of 4 hours away over in Corning.
Yeah.
Was like quite humble and not your sort of traditional like art.
It was like a row house,
yeah.
I think.
It was sort of like a flat, like stucco house.
Yeah.
And so she has this big, but what really seems to be like a city dwelling house. And then when, all the ghosts of Christmas past, present, and future arrive, they're like, head on back to the barn. I felt when they got to the barn, things got kind of weird in a way that I liked. It was like, there was like a little bit of a like Bucknall feeling happening. Everything seemed kind of weird. Tiny Tim was dancing and free of his crutch.
Yes.
That was the only really like precocious child moment that we got, although it was not a child.
I love the idea of like, let's go get shit-faced at the Cookie Ladies' annual Christmas costume party in a barn.
I did just have this really distinct feeling that everyone was hammered.
Yeah.
And I guess that's how they chose to play it. And I liked it because we don't get a lot of that around these parts. But before the party, Ted's sister tells him he needs to call Hope. She wants him to ask her out, and he needs to call and invite her to this party. He leaves. She clicky-clacks on that computer. She's very, very busy. She's so busy.
Cookie is not like a part-time job.
Cookie doesn't run itself.
Full-time endeavor. Okay,
Cookie itself does not raise the money for the children's wing at the hospital. That requires a lot of management and spreadsheets.
It's merely styrofoam. What can it possibly do?
It takes management. It is very hard to manage. Mm-hmm. And she's busy. He comes back about an hour later and she says, "Why are you sweating?"
And he's like, "It's fine. This is fine.
Don't worry about it.
Fine."
And she says, that was a very long conversation. And he just really plays it off. He's like, Hope is excited. We'll see her at the party. I definitely invited her. This sister knows his bullshit, I guess. She goes straight to the footage. She looks at the ring cam at the front door and spies him recording 30 different voicemails that he keeps deleting. I thought it was going to be revealed that he actually sent them all.
That's what I thought. I thought we were going to get a like mailbox full sort of moment. Yeah.
But it was very funny watching Robert Buckley just like bumbling and doing that over and over. Again, it's really hard to buy given how like conventionally attractive and charming he is, that he is this bumbling. He's also a weatherman. I like the links to which they go to not make him smarmy, but have him have some of the typical beats of a news or weatherman.
He's got like a slightly cheesy grin, but like in a way that I like, but it's there.
And he's always, we're always happening upon him leaving rooms, telling large groups of people about meeting Mark Harmon.
Yes.
Is very funny.
It's his favorite anecdote. I was on tenterhooks at the beginning when the first time we hear that anecdote, and I'm like, who's going to be the celebrity that is going to send all of Hallmark a fluttering? And I'm like, of course it is NCIS's own Mark Harmon. Like, of course it is.
I do. A lot of times in that scenario, they will cite another Hallmark star.
Oh,
like,
sure.
It'll be Paul Campbell or something.
This happened in the Santa school movie that we watched.
I believe Paul Campbell was one of the Santas because he was training for a role.
Yeah.
And that's something that Netflix has picked up, that they kind of like proliferate the universe, in
their Lohan Christmas
like
universe.
Lohan is watching Hudgens is watching Lohan. We're getting all kinds of new people in the mix this year. Stay tuned to Bingemas. They're coming.
Oh, can you tease me?
The
like
stars are coming. Alicia Silverstone, Oliver Hudson.
Oh,
who is in the
Dawson Creek's own Oliver Hudson?
That's right.
Wow.
You know that. Okay. Sasha is prompting me to say, producer Sasha is prompting me to say Connor Swindells, who I found out Sasha is a big fan of.
Sex Education,
and he's very charming. I know, and I'm excited to see him do more. Okay. I believe he is a thief in the breaking and entering themed Jingle Bell heist.
Oh my God. I'm very excited for this. Genuinely. Does he get to be British, or does he have to do an American?
It's British.
Yes. Okay. Sorry, back to Ted Cooper. Not to pull away from Ted Cooper, who is like the best. But Bob Buckley, his Mark Harmon anecdotes, his fumbling voicemails, like everything is pitch perfect. Great.
Where do you think Weatherman falls on like hot rom-com jobs? Or actually just like hot job? People love their local meteorologist.
Oh my gosh.
There's like such an element of celebrity while still being like an everyman.
And there's like whimsy to it too. They kind of get to chop it up sometimes as a weatherman.
He's chopping it up.
Yeah, interesting. I like it. I'm trying to think of like weathermen I have known.
And will know.
And because Bill Murray in Groundhog's Day is a weatherman, right?
Yeah.
Phil Connors, right? Okay. So that's one. But then I'm like I actually think if I had to pick, if it were up to me, it would be a different kind of journalist is what I would do. Because like James Marsden in 28 Dresses, like that is like peak hot rom-com journalist.
So
is
hot.
It not?
Yes, totally agree. And there was a moment, I can't quite pinpoint where it was within this, where I was like, Robert Buckley should have a James Marsden like career. Like this,
yes.
he's got a similar kind of like charm and like extreme handsomeness, but then kind of dialed down in some ways. He should do a Marsden.
I really agree. I deeply agree. Jury Duty season 2, something like that. I would love to see it. I do have one small note. Robert Buckley, a gorgeous specimen of a man. I will say, whoever's advised him that like the shellacked down dark brown hair and the slightly thicker eyebrow is his look is incorrect, because he has previously had a sort of zhuzhed, slightly sun-kissed look that I think would better
that he had
suit
in the
him.
high school yearbook.
There you go.
I agree. Sometimes his hair looked different than the other. Sometimes he looked wet.
Yeah. I agree.
And I was like, has he been out in the snow? And sometimes he had, because something we haven't like really covered in full is that his bad luck, his bad Christmas luck. We hear
the premise of the
premise
movie,
of the film
allegedly, yeah.
is that Christmas keeps trying to get him down. And it seems that like a lot of people know about this. And some people even come to watch him do the weather at Christmas time on TV. They get better ratings at Christmas time because it is likely that he will fall into like physical harm.
Right.
We hear that in the last 3 years, he has almost burned down his house, been attacked by a possum, and contracted a disease so rare that they named it after him, which is a really good comedic beat for Robert Buckley when they're kind of sparring back and forth about it. And he says, but all jokes aside, if you are experiencing the symptoms of Ted Cooperitis, please seek medical help immediately.
This is, and I hate to give more notes to the friend of your friend and also Bob Buckley.
I'm
but,
sure he'd be happy to have them. He's early in his path of writing these movies.
If we're looking for another montage, is this not a great opportunity to just like flash to Groundhog's Day-esque Christmas is past and all of his misfortunes? You know,
it's such a good note, Joanna. And I had the feeling when he walks away from the whiteboard that has all the bets and the odds listed of the different things that might happen to him. It's like get poked in an eye by a Christmas tree branch, which happens, choke on fruitcake, which doesn't happen, several other things. He's kind of indignant and he walks away and he's like, you watch, I'm going to turn it around this year. And then I just like really expected him to trip or to like have a physical pratfall. I kept expecting more pratfalls, I think, given how clumsy. He's actually not clumsy. I think he might be dumb because he knows that this is a perilous time for him. And he marches his happy ass in those Levi's up that ladder with a box of Christmas ornaments, puts it on the edge of the ladder, the box, and then takes a phone call.
All of this is setting up so that he lands in the hospital multiple times and can meet cute again and again with Dr. Hope. So like, you know, all of that. I will allow it, but is he kind of dumb? I think it's a reasonable question to ask. I really do. I do.
I mean, I heard that he has like his, master's in what was it? It was like atmospheric sciences. I know that he's smart because he's a meteorologist.
Yeah.
And yet, I don't have a lot of
weather.
math skills and they might, he might not have a lot of street and ornament smarts.
And ornament smarts are hard to come by these days.
And they're really important in this kind of movie.
It's true. It's true. Can we talk about the escape room situation?
Yeah, I needed to ease in because I'm not going to be bringing a lot of Christmas cheer to this portion of the podcast. When she's listing off 5 things about herself?
That's during darts. I guess they kind of have 3 dates.
I was just wondering. No. I was just wondering if that was when the escape room came up.
She loves an escape room.
Sasha really enjoyed the 5 things that she lists that are kind of different about her since high school. One of which being that she makes homemade ramen now. Yeah. And I thought, I was kind of like, okay, girl, don't we all? Because I thought she was meaning she like zhuzhed up instant ramen.
Oh, sure.
But you guys think she's getting into like bone broth and shit.
I think she's making the shoyu broth herself. Yeah,
okay.
Absolutely. Not just like making a jammy egg or something like that. Like she's like really going for it. That's all a setup so there can be this like hilarious like what spice level, and she's talking about the smutty book she reads and he's like, I meant the ramen. Like a great moment. But given that we're talking about that, given that she has a fondness for smutty novels.
Yes.
And they're 2 extremely attractive people and they spend the night trapped in the escape room. And they just sit and talk and almost kiss. That is what they do, locked in an escape room all night. I know this is Hallmark. There's nothing. We're not, no funny business in the sleigh. Like, what's happening?
Let's start at the beginning because I feel like it could have been an attitude problem. given that they were ultimately in an escape room for that long. So she, within those new facts about herself, reveals that she really enjoys escape room, to which I wrote down red flag. No offense, but like,
wait. Okay, I don't say that I like love an escape room, and I definitely would never put it on the top 5 things about me. Like that's way too high for anyone to put escape room. So I appreciate the red flag there. There is something about like puzzle brain sort of puzzle solving stuff that can be like extremely fun to do with other people, right?
It can.
You love an activity, Jodi.
I
Like,
know.
I know that
So,
about
okay.
you.
So if I can be vulnerable, because
please.
I'm capable of it. I've never been to an escape room because my fear is that it would go one of 2 ways. I would be way too into it, and you've seen me be way too into something. It's a bit of it requires a lot.
I love it.
It's a lot of energy. Or I would be like, so I would just hate it. Even and when like the elf Brandon had to start, who was so tired. What kind of recreational drugs do you think he'd been using?
Like MMA, I think.
Just like real suggestions of partying in this movie that we do not always have. It's not a total red flag. I was just kind of like, okay, girl. She loves escape rooms. So then for their first date, he asks her to do an escape room, which she later relays to her friend, who is also a doctor. She's like, I mean, how many guys would ask you to do an escape room on a first date? I was like, I think a lot of ill-advised ones.
Here's my follow-up question. He takes my memory is that he takes her to the escape room and it's like a surprise for her, right? Like they show up and she's like, oh my God, an escape room, right? That's my memory. I did watch this last week, so I could be wrong. If that's the case, like, shouldn't Brandon know her? Like, if escape room is in her top 5 and we're in Lackawanna.
I wondered if he took her to like a big city, like to Buffalo. Because again, I haven't been to an escape room, but that was a lot of square footage.
Oh, the production quality on this escape room is somehow the puzzles are dumber than anything I've ever seen in an escape room. And yet the design of the elaborate, and this is like, it's Christmas only. So this is like not their year-round attraction, right? This is like a seasonal escape room. And it's like an elaborate factory scenario. It's confusing to me.
I thought because everything's always full Christmas. It's like, oh yes, there is a full pop-up escape room for Christmas. We just buy it. I did notice that the title of the escape room was not necessarily Christmas-based. And so like, I maybe thought they were just making it seasonal for the season, but there's just...
Do you feel like usually then Santa's Workshop is actually just like an Amazon assembly line and it's like, you're an Amazon worker?
Well, it looked like it was designed for something else. Like it looks like one of the levels on James Bond GoldenEye. Like there are like pipes and industrial like silver things, and it doesn't look like what you would expect Santa's Workshop to look like.
Oh yeah, it's like a steampunk Santa kind of situation. Yeah.
And so ultimately, I thought they were about to be out of there real quick, because I discovered in watching this that I don't really like watching people solve clues. That's not true. I love Survivor. They weren't really achieving.
This wasn't fun.
It was not fun to watch them like uncover QR codes.
There's a great escape room sequence in Schitt's Creek that is like so fun and funny and like character based and like all this, so like, dare I ever compare the writing in a Hallmark movie to Schitt's Creek? No, but I'm just saying it can be done.
Barn party sort of reminded me of like a janky Schitt's Creek barn party.
100%.
They relate a lot. There is a wholesomeness. They find the teddy bear lickety split. She's a professional. She has been going to escape rooms and banging it out to romance novels all year long.
Slurping ramen.
And
you know what I mean?
hot ramen. Yeah. And she's ready. They get through it. They get to the next. I thought they were done. I was like, thank God. They get to the next step and Brandon the elf falls asleep. And they literally can't get out.
Can I just say?
Again, I feel like they could figure it out. Are they
There
dumb?
has to be some sort of emergency exit out of an escape room, like for fire purposes, right? Secondly, not to accuse Hallmark of being unoriginal in any sort of way.
You would never.
This is the premise of like an extremely popular romance novel that came out at the beginning of the year by Abby Jimenez of like the couple and their first like whatever get locked in an escape room overnight, and it's like a whole thing. So like I don't know if it's inspired by it, or is that like a standard trope that I'm unaware of, locked overnight in an escape room. But
in that book where they were stuck together overnight, did they ultimately just mostly chat the whole time?
In this case, I think they did because they literally like had just met. And it's not like I had a massive crush on you in high school and now is my moment to shine.
Okay.
And we already played sexy darts together. Like
Sure.
we've already like done some things.
We've done dart foreplay. We're in. Okay. Now we know that Hope ultimately goes on after a series of like very chill misunderstandings to tell Ted Cooper that maybe he's too optimistic and it keeps him being surface level. And that he doesn't advocate for himself because he's too much of a people pleaser,
Right.
which is pretty intense. Where I would have actually chosen to get a little intense with him is when she's like, this is awful. We got to get out of here. I'm hungry. And he, first of all, shakes a candy cane in her face. That would make me sick in this scenario. Don't do this. And then is like, no, it's fine. Like, there's no reason to get upset. Don't tell me when not to get upset. I am stuck in a Santa-themed escape room.
It also didn't seem like it smelled great in there. I just have to add that.
And then he's like, we've got a comfy sleigh to sit on. Hey, you guys aren't fucking in that escape room, but I know somebody else has.
Brandon like certainly has in one of his like drug-fueled Bacchanalian nights with all the keys to the escape room. A candy cane on an empty stomach just feels like it would make things worse. You know what I mean? Because then you'd be like jittery on top of everything. Also, can we go back in time on this sort of people pleaser idea, which as a concept is like very interesting. And I feel like we needed to pick one. I feel like it needed to either be like he's Christmas cursed or he has a profound character flaw that we need to like get to the bottom of. But
although I did find it interesting because when I read the description of this movie, the shorter description, I assumed he would be a Scrooge because Christmas is always so hard on him. But he's like endlessly optimistic in the face of Christmas tree branches to the eye.
Yeah, grievous bodily harm. The inciting incident for her diagnosing his character flaw comes at the pub.
She is a doctor.
When he does not send his burger back that has mayo on it when he didn't ask for mayo.
Yeah.
I have some follow-up questions about this.
Okay.
As someone who almost never sends food back because I also don't want to like bother a waitstaff or whatever. And I appreciate that like in this case, I am perhaps doormat adjacent. Like I understand that. But people who hate mayo hate mayo.
You don't casually hate mayo.
But people hate mayo. And I understand because like it is theoretically a disgusting thing. I happen to like it, but if I hated mayo, I'd be like, what is this eggy concoction? Okay. He doesn't even bother to like try to scrape. Like, why don't we like scrape it off the bun? You know what I mean? He takes a full mouth of mayo as someone who is like does not like mayo so much that he asks for it to not be on his burger. And then he's like real mayo forward is his review of the burger, which is very funny. But I'm just like, in that moment, I'm kind of on her side where I was like, yeah, I don't usually send things back, but I would at least scrape that mayo off before I tried to eat that burger, you know?
It also looked like a bad burger. Those burgers arrived and she's like, Miss Mittens was right. These burgers look great. I was like, these look
dry,
awful.
And deeply overdone.
It did not look like it had mayonnaise on it.
No. Nary a lettuce leaf, nary a juicy tomato. No, it was just like dry meat and bread.
People aren't at that pub for burgers. They're at that pub to get hammered, which is what I'm learning about Lackawanna as sort of like a culture.
Sounds fun, you know?
Yeah, the misunderstand. She takes some real leaps. I would say that like my main edit to the movie is that the stakes, and again, I mean, we're talking about Hallmark here. The stakes are very low.
Could not possibly be lower.
They are so low that we know when he goes back home to Lackawanna that he has a job offer that's better than his current job that would move him there to Buffalo nearby. So like, it's not even like should we fall in love? How are we going to do this? It's actually like, it would be better to fall in love.
Is also like weirdly sprinkled in, and he has this whole commentary about like my boss who I owe everything to, but we know really nothing about his relation. Like we don't see his relationship.
We see one thing of his relationship with that guy, which is the guy saying, hey, did you call Buffalo back?
But
he's
like,
telling him to do it.
But like, shouldn't this be an ongoing like relationship that we like, you know, Ted not having a real reason to not take this job, I guess, is diagnosing like what's wrong with his personality. But like, this is what I'm saying. Robert Buckley is too good of an actor and too charming and too funny for this movie. And this third act conflict of there's something profoundly wrong with you psychologically, and his response is, okay, I'll try. And then resolution is baffling, genuinely baffling to me.
These movies are often so formulaic that like you can even tell by the timestamp when something is about to happen. And that's like pretty standard for rom-coms too. We were getting pretty far into this thing, and I was like, they've liked each other from the beginning. They like each other now. What is the conflict going to be?
Cookie fundraiser going well. Nothing seems like dire about the fundraiser or the chances of the hospital to like stay open. None of our usual sort of like...
nothing is in financial ruin. Nothing is in disrepair. They don't do anything weird on the sleigh. So like things don't get weird. They obviously almost kiss, and then Brandon wakes up and stops them from... They wait till the very last minute to try and get that kiss in. Brandon prevents them. And then like this mix up is just that he leaves his phone in a limo, in a party bus that picked him up as a rideshare. Lackawanna, stay wild, baby. And a girl picks it up in there, thinks she's talking about the dress. It's just a mix up. And then his note flies away because the magic in this movie is sort of insidious. It is rooting against
mischievous,
Ted Cooper. It is mischievous, a mischievous magic. And like, she kind of wants him to care more. I see where her reasoning is coming from, but it's really self-defeating. And I do think she ultimately realizes that.
I hope that's the case. I do like her approach of, I don't want to sit around here and be disappointed that he's like out with some girl partying, so I'm going to go out and have dinner with my friends.
Definitely.
I think that's a very healthy coping mechanism. There is a moment in this movie when she is like in the middle of the day. I think it's right before she goes to the cookie celebration, but like she's
a gingerbread invitational.
She's in a full beat of makeup and like nice clothing, not the clothing she ultimately wear, but nice clothing. But then there's like a blanket over it and ice cream, but it's like full sunlight flooded into her house. And I was like, this isn't how we do depression. What are we doing? Like, what are we trying?
Her friend also shows up and is like, are you going to the invitational like that? It's like, she's wearing a sweater.
She looks stunning.
She looks absolutely gorgeous.
She just needs to be minus one blanket and then she is ready to go.
But she has to put on a very conservative red dress and then go to the invitational for the big on-screen kiss.
She looks like she's going to like a World War II canteen dance. That's what she's wearing, like a Peggy Carter dress.
Her hair should be in pin curls. She looks like one of the nurses in Pearl Harbor. Like it is a very classic look that she's chosen. Can I tell you when I cried in the film?
You cried.
You know I cried.
I know. Okay.
It's on the rubric. When did I cry?
Yeah.
It was a light welling up. I didn't sob or anything.
No.
So something that we haven't addressed, one of his pieces of bad luck, this isn't so much luck as caring for your own health. And again, she has a pretty good point that he is such a people pleaser that he is sort of endangering himself at times. There is a little girl at the hospital who is talking to Dr. Hope, who uses American Sign Language. And this is when we find out that that Hope's father was deaf and is also dead. That's who's dead. It's a very minor death in the plot, ultimately. Yeah. But so she knows American Sign Language as well. And Ted Cooper's kind of observing this. And then he tries one of the little girls what are purported to be gingerbread cookies. So I actually do see how he could have assumed that they wouldn't have had peanut butter in them. And yet, it's a nut allergy.
I'm not checking for peanut butter inside of a gingerbread cookie. Like, that's demented behavior.
It is.
Put peanut butter in a gingerbread cookie.
Cute little girl, disgusting cookies.
Yeah, absolutely.
How dare she?
Filthy. Yeah.
And he's like, what would you just, those doe eyes and that arm in a cast? What was I going to do?
Well, not eat the cookie for sure. If he caught a whiff of peanut butter, like,
and
on
you
the wind,
you gotta believe that a whiff of something is coming out of a peanut butter gingerbread cookie.
vile
Trash cookies.
Yeah, so him eating something he is deeply allergic to just to please a small child is demented behavior.
And then sort of letting the anaphylactic shock set in a little until the little girl walks away. And then Hope is talking about her dead dad. So he's like, okay, gotta wait a little longer. And then he's like, I need an EpiPen immediately. All of that to say, that kind of sets up that Hope speaks, that Hope uses American Sign Language. And when they go to the Bacchanalia barn party, he is still such a nerd. He's just still such a classic nerd that he can't get it together to ask her out. It's very clear what he's doing. She does not help him. It's clear that he is floundering. This is when I was like, Hope, you could spare a smile, I think. But no. He realizes he made a mistake. He takes off his dumpy snowman costume. He shows up at her house where, Joanna, I actually can't believe you haven't brought this up. She has returned home from a costume party. She is wearing a crisp white button-down shirt with the collar popped. Have you ever returned home and gotten into such a thing?
Is that not how you relax around the house?
I assume that is
with
only
collar?
how Nicole Kidman unwinds. And it is
Dr.
part
Hope.
of her Chanel contract.
Honestly, it makes a lot of sense to me that Dr. Hope would aspire to a Kidman-esque, existence.
It's true. She is very like classy, very elegant. She's in the button up. She opens the door and he signs to her, "Will you go on a date with me?" And I teared up.
It was very endearing. And then he's like, "That's all I learned, right? I cannot continue this conversation."
Well, she basically says yes. And he's like,
Yeah.
I can't understand you.
Yeah.
Ted Cooper, babe, are you dumb?
No, he loves Lord of the Rings. He's a nerd.
He's an AV nerd.
He has a master's in weather.
He has a master in weathers. His sister has a master in cookies. They're a very dynamic family. Never learned anything about Hope's mom, as far as I can remember. I don't know where she is. But someone instilled in her a real sense of moxie, because she ultimately tells him that he is not advocating for himself. And he says that he's a people pleaser with the mayonnaise and the peanut allergy and all of these things. He doesn't want to be an imposition. And she hits him with, advocating for yourself isn't an imposition.
I kind of feel like I learned a life lesson from this movie.
I took it on.
Yeah.
I had a friend tell me sort of recently that because it's not something I think about a lot. She was like, "You're really good at self-advocating."
That's what I would think about you. Yeah.
I was kind of like, I guess I can't imagine not be, like it's just the only way I know, which like this is the only way that he knows. But I'm sure there's some work I need to do around self-advocating. His work is to know that it's not an imposition. And that was told to him by a woman he has been on one date with.
Well, again, if we're counting sexy darts and costume
and
party
mittenses.
barn bacchanalia, including the entire hour beforehand where his sister was like, "Come an hour early." Oops, did I say come an hour early? So that's like 2.5 dates, I would say. However, it's way too soon for her to be like, well, but also she knows what she wants. And she's like, I don't want to date someone who is a pathological people pleaser. I just think Ted Cooper is lovely. And I don't know.
She would be missing out. At least give it several more dates before you decide that you are like fundamentally psychologically mismatched. Because ultimately, the sort of narrative work that they do is that she is doing to him what she has had done to her. She says kind of early on that the guys she's dating always like, they don't fight for her. And he doesn't really fight for her, because he's not aware that there's a fight.
Right. She's like, "You weren't upset that I didn't call you?" And he's like, "No, it's fine." And honestly, that feels psychologically healthy to me. He's like,
he was like, "Well, I was worried and now I'm not."
It was like less than a day, so I'm okay with it.
And also Mittens told me this is a thing that happens in movies.
And so it's fine. And she's like, "It's not fine. Why weren't you more upset?" I always want to be on her side.
I know. And she was
woman's side,
simply going through it, I think.
And I think there are ways in which, like, she could introduce some of these ideas into conversations that they're having of like, hey, have you thought about advocating for yourself? Hey, maybe like encourage him, but to give him like a sort of like a just complete read the way that she does so quickly is astounding. In the driveway.
Have some decorum.
When he's like, it's so good to see you. And she's like, let me tell you about yourself. You know what I mean? Like it's a lot.
And then he has to go and do not even a promo. He has to actually go report the news from the Gingerbread Invitational. The people from the, New York State Book of World Records are there. Not national, not Guinness, but the state records are there. And he's got to report the news. She gets her act together. She puts on her World War II dress. She shows up while he's on the air and he begins interviewing her, which that, again, is a time that I would be like, this is annoying. Please don't do this.
But not if you're in a rom-com. It's charming.
No,
right?
They go on break, right? And then they chat. And then they kiss on air, which was the thing on the betting list that had the biggest odds against it, is that he would kiss a beautiful woman on air.
Because like...
I guess they put one good thing in.
I thought it was it on air? I thought it was just kiss a beautiful woman.
Oh, you're right. It was just kiss a beautiful woman. And he did it on air for all to see.
And I'm just like, why do you think Absolute Charming Smoke Show... And that's a question he asks, but I'm like, at home, I'm also asking.
He could kiss a woman. He's probably going to like choke on her gum or something, but he could kiss a woman.
Like the payoff of that is great because like a woman in his office gets a payout at the, cost of our anchorman Ken and all that sort of stuff like that. Like it's great stuff. I'm gonna have to sell my boat. Great button to the whole thing. But I'm like, that makes no sense. It's like death, 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 smooch a lady, death, 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 death. And he's like, why do y'all think it's like less likely that I'm going to smooch a lady? And I also have that question at home.
Well, Joanna, he's just such a nerd.
A Gimli
he's just
quote,
such a classic
nerd. A Gimli quote. Yeah.
She didn't even know what Lord of the Rings was. These two opposites. Can you believe they made it?
Wow,
they got together.
Wow. These crazy kids. These deeply attractive.
Hot, late 30 something, no children, got money, just really well set up to fall in love.
When he takes the job in Buffalo, does he get a little flat in Buffalo, or does he move right into her Christmas bedecked house, or does he move in with his sister, or does he take the apartment of the garage in Mittens' backyard? Like, where is Ted Cooper living when he transfers to Buffalo?
Unfortunately, I do think that he is trying to move in with Mittens, and Hope has to tell him that is, again, not a thing that she wants him to be doing.
I will say, the slow-mo he has put on the matching tracksuit with the walking group moment is pretty excellent. Pretty good stuff. So
charming with the stepsisters, the way he immediately falls in with this gaggle of gals, and they get him the windsuit for Christmas, say they all chipped in, hits you with the slow-mo, and he's got his all the way zipped up to the top.
And the sunglasses on.
Sunglasses looking good.
Yeah.
Joanna, I gotta say, I feel like this was a pretty good one. We're off to a banging start for Bingemas.
It's it is good, but also is missing a je ne sais alpaca, right? Missing that sort of twist of only at Christmas would I watch a premise as bonkers as this. Do you know what I mean? So
of course, this is the premise of Bingemas. Only now would I watch this. But interestingly, I think because this is kind of a younger writer, a newer age of a more modern movie, some of those staples precocious child, an animal, a villain who sows discord, really just
aren't here.
We didn't need them. We were doing a little therapy speak in place of those.
The villain is psychological damage.
Well, the villain is within. As we well know.
Haunting us always. Yeah, that's interesting. I would love to see Robert Buckley and this writer pair up again for another, and it doesn't have to just be Christmas, because I understand that Hallmark does this year round. We could do Valentine's, we could do Halloween, we could do whatever we want to do. But I would encourage them to bring the same level of wit and charm to a more bonkers premise. I would like to see those worlds collide.
Totally agree. I need another hot Frosty.
That's what hot Frosty is.
Yeah, I need hot Robert Buckley Frosty. We can switch the temperatures. whatever we
To be
need.
clear, Hot Frosty does not skimp on the torso. You know what I mean? Like that's
Oh, no, it sure does not. And it uses a scarf in creative ways, the likes of which I have not seen since.
Robert Buckley, this is available to you. I'm just saying.
Bingemas will be here. It'll be here next year for Cold Frosty. Joanna, you are a scholar and a saint. Merry Bingemas to you. Thank you. Thank you to Sasha. Thank you to Belle. Thank you to Ashleigh. We will see you back here for the second day of Bingemas this week. Bye.